How we doing?
I'm doing okay. How are you doing?
Good. Calling us from your office in right in Amon G. Carter Stadium. I tell you what, it was good seeing you yesterday, and I really enjoyed talking to you about UCF. But before we get into them, what do you think about your team through the first two ball games?
Well, so far so good. I like our team. I just like the makeup of the team. I like the guys. I like the competitive nature. It's just teams have a feel, and I just really like the feel of this team. I think it's a mature team. We have some older guys that are really good leaders. And I think what that does, it just helps everybody grow up a little bit and help raise the standard of the organization. And so, from that perspective, I really like it. Week one, I thought we, did some good things against Stanford. I thought we played really well in stretches, but we made so many, kind of critical mistakes that it kept us from separating a little bit, and we ended up looking up in late in the fourth quarter, and we're behind. And it's a game that we probably shouldn't have happened, just given the way that I thought we played during the game. But when you make the kind of critical mistakes that we did, you have the turnover, going in inside the 5 yard line. You have three penalties that keep scoring drives alive.
Right.
You miss a short field goal. You make the mistakes that we made. Typically, you get beat, especially on the road, and especially against an improved team like Stanford is. So anyway, I felt like we were fortunate in that game, but I think we showed some grit. It's a one-score game. We told our guys, we figured there would probably be 8, 9 games this year that were going to be decided by a score, and we were fortunate enough to win one. So we're 1-0 in those kind of games. And then last week, I thought we played like a mature football team's supposed to play. I thought we handled our business. We took care of the football. We didn't have any turnovers at all. We didn't have any penalties in the first half. And so I thought we did some good things. Still not quite clicking on all cylinders yet, but anyway, I think we're getting better. And as I said, like the makeup of the team, we're certainly going to have to play better, this week against Central Florida than we have at any point, this season. I think UCF is going to be honestly one of the more talented teams we play, all season. And
Yeah.
so, we're going to have to really raise our level of play.
All right. So when a Long Island shows up on your schedule, what do you hope to get out of a game like that?
Just it's what I tell the guys all the time. It's always about us. I think that, and in particular, when you play somebody that you're supposed to beat, it's about you. Um, and again, mature football teams play to their standard. They don't play to the team that they're playing standard. And I think that was what impressed me about that performance Saturday. Was I thought we did that for the most part. And not taking anything away from Long Island. I think they're going to compete for a conference championship. I think that team will have a chance to get in the FCS playoff and potentially win their conference. But at the same time, we should have more talent than they do, and we do. And you want to play to your standard. You want to play to your ability and to your talent. And as I said, for the most part, I thought we did that. And really, that's how you measure yourself every week. I mean, I was happy that we beat Stanford. It's always objective number one is always win the game. But
Sure.
I was disappointed that we didn't play as well as we're capable of. And that's the idea is to go out there and play as well as you can play. And most of the time, that's going to result in a victory. And sometimes you're going to play somebody that plays better than you, and you get beat. But my hope is this team will continue to get better and better.
Well, it seems like a professional win. They went out and did their job. They could have done it better, but they didn't. They didn't get Northern Illinois. They went out
Yeah, for sure.
and did their job. I
And I
like
think
what you
again,
said.
like I said earlier, I think in some ways that speaks to the maturity of the group.
Yeah.
I think that's you know in 22 we had a very mature team, and in those kind of games we handled our business. And 23, we did a poor job. I did a poor job of building that maturity and developing that. And we struggled in the games that we were supposed to win last year, and played a lot of times to the level of our competition. So it's certainly a step in the right direction.
Yeah, I remember the 2022 team. You said that when you got hired, they seemed like they were kind of desperate for a change or willing to buy into a change, and they did. But it was a veteran group. it's a pretty talented group with all the guys that went to the NFL. But you brought in some guys this year, especially on the defensive side, a cornerback and defensive line to add to maturity. And you talked about this yesterday, so I hate to make you repeat yourself, but it's really hard to place a value on experience. I mean, experience is just priceless.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I think that's, to me, that's kind of the essence of the transfer portal. And you graduate experience, and then you want to replace it with experience. And at the same time, you want to develop your young players and bring those guys along, and create competition. But yeah, but we lost some guys, that were pretty important players for us at some key spots. But we went and found guys that were proven. We went and found a Cooper McDonald from San Diego State who played a million snaps, and Devin Deal from Tulane, and those guys played at a really high level and played for really successful programs, and were both really good players, and they've translated well. JT Broughton's another one that, same thing, had played a lot of snaps, had played at a high level, had played on a good team, and you bring those kind of guys in, and they raise the temperature of the room. There's a standard that those guys, and there's a maturity about those guys, and so it runs off on everybody. Nana is another one that has played a lot of football and takes a lot of pride in being a Horned Frog, and so you start adding all that together, and you look up, and all of a sudden you've got experience, and you got guys that are used to playing big time football, and used to being successful.
You mentioned Cooper and Nana, guys who maybe got away, got outside of Texas. I know when you came in, you wanted to make sure that TCU is the Metroplex's team, and you want to dominate the Metroplex. Would these guys have gotten away if Sonny Dykes had been the coach back then?
Oh, I don't know about that. I mean, I know, the school I was at previously, we thought we were going to get Nana. We recruited him really hard, and we were disappointed when he went to Notre Dame. But, I guess in the long run, glad it worked out the way it did. And didn't really honestly know about Cooper. But there's guys like that all the time. I mean, there's guys that get overlooked, that go places and play with a chip on their shoulder. And, when you go back and you look at TCU's history and what Coach Patterson built here, and a lot of those teams were built with those kind of guys that were may have been a little bit overlooked, and came here and developed and got coached up, and played at a really high level. And so the transfer portal allows us to go find those guys. And, and Devin Deal's one too, that, is a local kid, and went to school for a while in El Paso, and now his dad is coaching over at Naaman Forest in Garland. So, and so anyway, there's guys everywhere, and our job's to keep the local guys here playing for us if we can, and if not, certainly go find them. The ones that got away, those guys are good players. Eric McAllister's another one, kind of the same thing.
Yeah, sure.
Real good player that got away.
Yep. Hey, we're talking on to Coach Sonny Dykes on the first All Horned Frogs podcast. Coach, a guy who never got away was Savion Williams. I think in this day and age of the transfer portal, Savion's been here forever. He's been here since 2020. Quarterback in high school. I'm glad you let him throw the other day. He was talking about it in spring practice. Said he has the best arm on the team. What do you like about Savion? He has a child who had some complications at birth. Just seems like this is a mature kid who also will knock the snot out of you if you try to tackle him.
Yeah. Real unique guy, real unique talent, really unique person, has a very unique story, has overcome a lot to get where he is, and just really proud of everything that he's doing in his life. He's working really hard to be a good husband and a good father, and be a good student, and be a good player for the Horned Frogs. And so he's got a lot going on. Really pleased with the way he's taken on every one of those roles, and takes a lot of pride in all of it. And it's fun to see him have success, and to grow as a football player. And he's got a really bright future. And and I'm just excited to see how he continues to develop during the season. I mean, he's obviously very talented, and I want to see him translated on the field, and he has so far. And I think he's has an opportunity to be one of the best receivers in college football. And so I'm excited to go on this journey with him and see where he ends up.
Yeah. You also, J.P. Richardson's on the team, another veteran guy who started at Oklahoma State. How important is it for a quarterback? Josh Hoover's not totally ripe, but a younger quarterback to have senior guys that he can depend on.
Yeah, yeah. When you take Jack Besh and you take John Paul and you take Drake Dabney and you take Chase Curtis, I
Yeah,
mean DJ
sure.
Rogers. I mean all these guys are guys that have a ton of experience. JoJo Earl. You just look at this whole wide receiver group, and these guys have played a lot of football, and they're good players. And when uh, you have guys that you believe in and you trust at the receiver spot as a quarterback, that's the best thing you can have. I mean, you need to be comfortable in your system, and you need to be comfortable with the players you're throwing the ball to. And if you trust those guys to be in the right place at the right time, that's when something magical happens throwing the ball. And everybody talks about big guys and fast guys and quick guys and all this, and really the magic is in when the quarterback knows where the receiver is going to be, and the receiver knows how to get there and gets there at the right time, and the ball is put in the right spot, and then all the magical fun things start to happen then.
Sure. Second year for coordinator Kendall Briles. First year for Andy Avalos. UCF's going to be a pretty good test. What do you see from UCF? I guess it starts with the quarterback, KJ Jefferson.
Yeah, yeah, really good football team. I mean, they're one of the more talented teams we'll play this year, if not the most talented. Just a lot of great skill, speed. A quarterback that's got over 40 starts, big strong guy, running backs that are powerful and fast, receivers that are really really fast that have a ton of experience in production. A really good, huge, athletic offensive line. The defense that's built around a defensive front. Their four guys up front are really really good. The two ends are great pass rushers. The two tackles are big guys that are athletic that play tough. They got a nickel that's a really really good football player, a 6'2" corner that's very very athletic. I mean, just a very good football team. They're
Hmm.
very good in the return game. Both the punt return and kick return game. Their kickoff team is one of the best in college football. I mean, they're just really really athletic and can run, and they play tough and they play physical.
Yeah, I talked to you for a story I did for TCU Magazine about UCF, like a sleeping giant. Kind of, the school has a enrollment of nearly 70,000 people, students, and um, right there in Orlando. Not everybody can go to Miami, Florida State, and Florida, and there are enough kids to make a pretty good club for Gus Malzahn can just go probably recruit Orlando and be okay.
Yeah, I mean, look, if you took those teams and you compared the talent at those four teams that you just named, I mean, UCF's going to compare very favorably to the rest of those teams. I mean, they just are. And as you said, there's a lot of good high school football in the state of Florida. Central Florida also does a really nice job in the transfer portal. You look at a lot of their best players are SEC guys that played a lot of snaps at SEC teams, and they do a great job of attracting those kind of guys. And Gus has had a lot of success through the years. And what I think is speaks really well about Gus is they were one of the top passing teams in the country last year, and they had a passing quarterback, and now they've got a running quarterback, and they're one of the best, and they're the best running team in college football right now. And so, his ability to adapt to his personnel, I think, tells you what kind of coach he is, and he does a good job. I mean, his guys are going to play hard, and he's always going to have good schemes, and I think he's one of the better football coaches around.
Well, the Carter is sold out for Saturday. It's blackout day. Ought to have a great crowd. Ought to be a great ball game. And Coach, I just want to thank you for hopping on the initial show here and making it a success. So good luck on Saturday, and I'll see you next week.
Yeah, yeah. Thanks for having me. Congrats on the first show, and look forward to seeing you again.
All right, Sonny.